Hey guys, it's Winnie. Jag är Winnie och jag ska snälla näsla touchini eva shin torchini era che sanjikina era shnala. Now that we have my Navajo introduction out of the way, I took a poll on the Instagram a couple days ago. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Asking you guys if you wanted a video about my Bell's palsy situation right now. And that's what we're doing. If you don't know what Bell's palsy is, it's when, this is what I remember, I'm not a doctor, I could be getting it wrong, but it's when a virus attacks the nerves that control your facial muscles. So it causes it to get inflamed and that sort of stuff, and as a result, part of your face, one side, for me it's my left side, is, you know, I don't have a lot of movement or function on my left side. I know you can't really tell. If you're familiar with this, you know that sometimes people, it's more severe in some people. I think with me, I have like a minor case of it, so I'm hoping that means that my recovery time will be a lot sooner. This happens basically to random people at random times. They don't really know what causes it. They have theories, I think, and I'll talk about that. So we're gonna go back to when I feel like the symptoms kind of started. So last week, now just for reference, today's date is October 17th, it's Thursday. Last week on October 9th and October 10th, I went back to the reservation. That's when I stay at my mom's house, and my back was so like, just, I was in pain. Like, I feel like I needed to sit up straight. I feel like I needed to pop my back. It just felt like I had these knots, and I remember I barely slept that night when I was at my mom's, and I was in pain for most of my visit. And I kind of think that during that time is when the symptoms kind of started. And then I was kind of feeling like a pain back here, like back here that goes to your ear, but it was like a shooting pain, but it was like, it wasn't constant. It would happen like a couple times a day. So I attributed it to like my back and just the way that I slept, and I kind of explained it away in my head. So I came back, and Friday, October 11th, I was doing errands. I didn't have time to eat or drink, and I got to work at noon, 12 o'clock. We were having a potluck that day, and I brought pizza. That was the thing that I was going to bring for my potluck. So I got there, showed up with my pizza. There was already food there, and people were like, Winnie, sit down, eat something before we get busy, and you know, we're gonna get busy later, it's Friday, whatever. Take some time to enjoy the food and that sort of stuff. So grabbed a piece of pizza because I wasn't really that hungry, and I remember I bit into it, and I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this pizza? It tastes so weird. So to describe what I tasted, it tasted like, you know, when you burn your mouth and your taste buds are just like shot, or that taste that when like a pill dissolves on your tongue sooner than it should before you're able to swallow it, and you're like, ugh, that yucky taste. That's what I tasted. So I remember making a comment. I'm like, I think I burned my mouth and I don't remember. And what I started trying to remember, did I drink something or did I eat something? And like I said, I explained it away. So I could still kind of taste some stuff, and you know, that was it. I was like, okay, well, I burnt my tongue and that sucks for me and whatever. So I continued my day. That was the only symptom I had other than like my shoulders being sore, the pain right here, and my back being sore. So I explained it away, and come Saturday, my coworker and I, we had to do some decorating, and the decorations, for whatever stupid reason, had a bunch of glitter on it. I'm never gonna order decorations with glitter on it. And it was like the real fine glitter, not the chunky craft glitter that you see, but it was like the real fine glitter. So we had been decorating off and on throughout the day, and towards the end of my shift, we had been decorating, and my eye started, my left eye started acting weird. And I thought I got glitter in my eye, because glitter was everywhere. It was all over my hands, it was all over our clothes, it was all over her, it was all over tables, chairs. Glitter was everywhere. So I thought I got glitter in my eye. So because it was the end of my shift, I just ended up like, well, I'll rinse it out at home and see what happens. Drove home, and it was the most miserable drive ever because it was bright out and I was tired and I just wanted to get home. So I got home. Sam said, well, let's go get something to eat, and then we got to go to bed because we had early mornings that day because we both had to be at work. So we went out to go eat, and I remember sitting at the table in the restaurant, and I was just like, I'm so tired, and I'm sick of my eye. I had to take off my glasses because I felt like my eyes were being strained, and you know. So we finished eating, we came back and got everybody in their crates and fed and everything, and we went to bed. And I thought that when I was washing my face, I noticed that I would clean my eyes and this eye would stay closed, but this eye would just go like, you know. And I'm like, what the heck, I must be so freaking tired. I've never been that tired where my eye just doesn't cooperate. So I went to bed. I woke up the next morning, which was Sunday, the day of the event that we were decorating for, and I couldn't call out. My eye was just watering, just constantly watering. Kept putting a tissue up, kept covering my eye, and at the time I didn't notice that my eye wasn't closing. I just felt like it was just watery because I kind of felt like I was closing my eye. But I remember telling Sam, I'm like, I feel like my right eye blinks a lot faster than my left eye. It's like my left eye is just closing slowly. And I thought it was glitter in my eye. So I went to work, struggled through my shift, struggled through the event, struggled to finish out my shift. Towards the end of my shift, I went to EMT and I asked, can you guys rinse out my eye? Because, you know, they're EMTs. They're like, yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll rinse it out for you and that sort of stuff. So they looked at it and they're like, well, we don't see anything, but we're gonna rinse your eye out anyway, just in case, you know, we missed it. So they rinsed it, and luckily at that point I only had like 30 minutes left of my shift left. So I was like, well, if it continues, I'll just go to the eye doctor and, you know, see what's going on. So they, okay, are you okay to drive? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, you know, I'm okay. Had my glasses on at that point. So came back home and went to bed because I was tired. I woke up on Monday morning and my eye was still just like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's something going on with my eye, like I need to go to the eye doctor. I went to work and I started looking up eye doctors to see if I can get in. I was able to find one, but I had to cancel it because I kind of figured out what was going on. Found an eye doctor and soon realized that I don't think I should be going to an eye doctor because I bit into a sandwich that Sam got me for breakfast, and I noticed that my left side of my mouth wasn't opening up. It felt tight. So I explained it away again because I was like, well, maybe I just need lip balm. Maybe my lips are dry, and you know, when your lips are dry, you can't open your mouth as wide and that sort of stuff. So put on some lip balm, tried to eat my sandwich, and then something told me, I'm like, what if I'm having a Bell's palsy episode? Because my left eye, my tongue was acting weird. At the time, like I said, I didn't know that it was just isolated to one side. My lip is being weird. And then I remember I Googled and I had all the symptoms. And then something made me do the kissy face, like the duck face. And I could feel it without looking that it was going to the right. And I was like, what? So I jumped up and I ran to the mirror and I was like, what the heck is going on? And I freaked out. And right in the middle of my freak out, my old boss walked in and I'm like, dude, something's going on with my face. And he's like, what? So I showed him, I'm like, look. And he said, oh, Winnie, I think you should go to the hospital. And I was like, I think I gotta go. And I started crying because I don't know what the heck is going on. But I kind of had, you know, I think I'm having a Bell's palsy episode because this has happened to my mom before. Hers is a little bit more severe than mine, but I quickly packed up my stuff. I left like 6 hours early from my shift, and on my way out, the security EMT guy, he was like, well, we just want to do an assessment, make sure you're okay to drive, just in case, you know, it's something major, we don't want you on the road. So they quickly did an assessment and they said, well, do you need us to drive you? Do you need an ambulance? And I said, no, I think I'm okay to drive. My husband's waiting for me, because I had called Sam and I was like, I'm coming home, I need to go to the ER. So they said, okay, as long as you're sure you can drive, you know, pull over if you feel weird and call somebody. I left, started driving. I got home, and I swear it was like the longest drive ever. Like, I felt like it was hours just to get home. And Sam was already waiting. He, you know, he had everything ready. I just need to find my insurance card because I don't know why I don't carry it with me. So we left, and we got to the hospital like around a little bit before 3, I think. And you know it's serious when you check in and they're like, don't go to your regular waiting room, like the waiting room where people just kind of wait because it's not as serious. They directed me to a different waiting room, and from the time I sat down to the time they took me into the back, it was like 10 minutes. And I'll tell you guys why. So Sam had barely parked the car. He came in, he sat down with me for a couple minutes, and then they called me back, and then they started doing assessments on me because they thought that I was having a stroke. And that's why I went, because I thought I was having a stroke too. It's scary. So they did all sort of assessments, and 2 doctors came in. One of them seemed a little bit more nicer than the other. Well, a lot nicer than the other. The second doctor that came in, he was super nice. Like, if this guy could be like more doctors could be like this guy, I would feel better about going to the hospital. So anyway, they did some assessments. They did a test, like a taste test, and they were like, well, you can only taste on one side, so we think it's Bell's palsy, but we still want to run an MRI just to be sure. So I was like, okay, because I'm scared. Like, I don't know what's going on. My face is starting to droop. And so after they kind of determined it was most likely Bell's palsy, it was like the emergency part of it was over. Like, they weren't as like scared, but they still put me on a stroke watch type of situation. So I sat for like 30 minutes, and they took me back. They started an IV. They took my blood pressure, and then I waited for 7 hours. They took me from one room to another, and I waited a little bit, and then they finally wheeled me back to do the MRI test towards like probably around 10 o'clock at night. And the MRI technician, super nice. Like, I didn't know if I was claustrophobic or not, but he was like, well, you know, we have ways to work through it. And for whatever reason, I think that if something happens to my mom, I'm like, it's probably gonna happen to me, because my mom's allergic to this, and she's had Bell's palsy, and she's claustrophobic. I'm like, well, my mom has it, so maybe I have it. Like, that's my thinking. But they were like, no, you know, it's usually mind over matter type of stuff. But I made it through the MRI. I'm not claustrophobic apparently, because I almost wanted to fall asleep in there, because it was, in a weird way, it was kind of relaxing to have something making rhythmic sounds. Does that make sense? So did my MRI. They wheeled me back to the emergency room, and I waited a little bit. Doctor came in, and they said that, well, your MRI came back normal. We're gonna start you on steroids and an antivirus medication, or anti-inflammatory, one of the words, I don't remember which one. And, you know, follow up with your primary care doctor, and if it worsens, then definitely come back. So sent me on my way. We got out of there a little bit before 11. No, we got out of there like around 11:30. Came back home, and we were tired. I was exhausted, and thank goodness for my husband. Like, thank goodness for my husband. I don't know what I would do without him. So went to bed in the morning, got my medication filled, and so I've been on medication since. I'm almost done with one of them, because it was a 5-day treatment, and another one is a 7-day treatment. So here we are. So my first real symptoms started on the 11th. Like I said, today's the 17th, and this is kind of how it started out. So I hope that this is the worst that it's gonna get. I can move my eyebrows, my nostrils. I can move this side. This is my right side, by the way. I can, you know, wink, do this. My left side, which is this side, my smile is crooked, but not by much. And so that's where we are. I went to my primary care doctor yesterday, and she was like, oh, you had an interesting couple of days. And I'm like, yeah. So she had already requested my my file be transferred, and she was already looking at it and stuff like that. And this is where I'm like, I'm gonna tell you guys this, because my life is not all sunshine and rainbows. Stuff happens in my life. Sometimes I tell you guys about it, sometimes I don't. For the most part, I consider myself a happy-go-lucky person, but that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't happen to me. About 2 or 3 years ago, I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and my doctor was like, Winnie, you need to take this seriously. You need to eat better, you need to exercise, you need to make better choices for yourself. So I did for that period of time that I needed to get it back down to the better level. And mind you, I was just barely in that pre-diabetic range. Like, here's pre-diabetic, up here I was like bloop, right here. So technically I was pre-diabetic. So she was like, you need to take care of this before it gets serious. So I minded what I ate, minded what I drank, was a little bit more active, and it helped. So, but since then, I just been doing whatever I wanted. I've been eating whatever I wanted, drinking whatever I wanted, not taking very good care of myself. And because one of the questions that they asked me at the ER was, are you diabetic? Because apparently there's an association. I don't really know what it is, but they think there's some sort of connection to diabetes. I said no, but I was pre-diabetic, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll look into that. They didn't really look into it, because apparently once they ruled that it was Bell's palsy, they were like, all right, you know, which is kind of weird still when you think about it. They should have tested the blood that they took from me, but I got it done anyway, and I didn't have to pay for that. So anyway, that aside, went to my primary care, and I was like, I don't know, can we get tested? Can I get tested again for diabetes? She's like, absolutely, we can do tests. And they quickly did one on site, and they were like, you're actually lower than you were when you brought it down. So there's the pre-diabetic, I was up here, I brought it down, and now it's even lower. So good, but still really scary. It was like kind of like a wake-up call. So still had to do some blood tests, because they were kind of concerned about my vitamin D, because I've been really tired. So that's what happened yesterday. So for the past couple of days, I've been poked. I even got my flu shot. They took more blood. They took my, you know, they prick your finger. And I'm just like, I'm done being a pincushion. So, you know, doing tests and stuff like that. I feel really good about my doctor. She's like very, very nice and very caring, but she's stern. She's like, Winnie, I'm worried about you. You know, the first time when she told me about the whole possibly, you know, the diabetic could go one way or the other, she was like, I'm really worried about you. I don't want you to be diabetic. You're very young, and that sort of stuff. So anyway, got tests going. I'm tired a lot. Like right now, I'm like tired. I just want to lay down, but I wanted to make this video before the sun goes down. So, priorities. But anyway, that's what's going on right now. Like I said, it happens to random people at random times. They don't really know what causes it. They think it could be the virus that causes cold sores. That's another thing. I get cold sores, and I've been debating whether to even mention that on my channel, because I've seen videos of people who have talked about their cold sores, and I read the comments and people are like, oh, disgusting, you got herpes and stuff. And I'm like, look, I got my first cold sore when I was like 5, and it was because I drank out of the wrong glass. I wasn't promiscuous. I wasn't doing this or that. I drank out of the wrong freaking glass. If anybody I should be mad at, I should be mad at the person who put their glass next to mine, because I know whose glass it was. That person is, you know, no longer alive, but still, like, there's this like way people think about people who get cold sores, and half the time it's not even their own fault. Like in my case, drank out of the wrong glass, but they think that this Bell's palsy, there could be some sort of connection with like people who get the cold sores. It could be diabetic related, it could be stress related, and I'm like, let's rule out the diabetes thing. So far I think we've ruled that out. I do get cold sores, and the thing about this is I used to go years and years without getting a cold sore. The last cold sore that I got before February of 2018 was like 6 years ago, when I used to live down in Phoenix. And last year, 2018, I got 2 of them within 6 months, which is weird, you know, because I used to go like years and years and years without a cold sore. So I'm like, well, maybe that has a connection, you know. But in the end, they don't really know. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. So right now, the main goal is to have to do like facial exercises, like massage my face. My left eye still doesn't close. I've been taping it shut at night, which is weird, because whenever this eye wants to blink, this eye wants to blink with it. So, but it's like my eye wants to blink, and it's kind of like this eye will be going like this, and this eye like this. You can tell my smile is kind of lopsided, but not by much. You can just, it kind of looks like something's up, but you're like, maybe that's just the way that she smiles. But I mean, this is where we are. My husband's taking great care of me. He's driving me everywhere. If he doesn't hear me within like 30 minutes, he's like, are you okay up there? Because he needs to keep an eye on me. That's kind of like what the doctors are saying, just in case something, you know, goes the other direction. He's been feeding me, making sure that I eat, even though right now my appetite is like gone. I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand, because my taste buds, I can only taste on this, I can only taste on this side. It's like, forget it. When I do eat, I get full really easily. My energy goes up and down. My shoulders are still kind of sore. I did have a chiropractor appointment, so that might be why. I went to a chiropractor this morning, and I've just been taking it easy, which is nice. But at the same time, when my energy's up, that's when I get cabin fever, because I'm like, I don't want to sleep anymore, but I know that that's what my body needs right now. So yeah, I know that I kind of got a little bit lucky that it's not as bad as it could have been. And I mean, I'll post videos, progress reports and stuff like that, but if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. I don't know a whole lot about it other than what the doctors kind of explained to me and what I've read online. But if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. So yeah. I can't do this. I can still feel, like I feel this. I can still feel pain. I bit my tongue on this side and it was like, ah! So right now it's just this side. It'll get better, I know. I have high hopes that because it's not like a severe case that I'll make a quick recovery. But I'm hoping that now that I know to take better care of myself, that I can hopefully prevent it from happening again. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm gonna go now. Bye guys. Oh, before I go, don't forget to spay, neuter, vaccinate, microchip, collar, and tag your pets. Okay?